From the mysterious world of Hyrule, Ganon has sent out a randomized force throughout the land. 2 brave souls have offered us to join us on their journey, and is now being broadcasted directly to the comfort of your home. As we say, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's ALTTP daily race here on Speed Gaming number 4. Today we have ourselves the Ambrosia mode, and we have ourselves Calvin 919 and Plasma Kappa out of a pool of what? Like at least 5 or so runners. I haven't did count it yet. But I'm Professor Render. Commentary booth is my it's a CoCom SoCal 2044. How are you doing today?
Hanging in there, doing the best we can in these times.
Yeah, in these trying times, we definitely need that escape. And we definitely need to send help because we have Plasma Cap on here. But today we have the Ambrosia game mode, and for those who are not familiar with Ambrosia, it has nothing to do with the god named Ambrosia, but it's a standard assured seed or .casual where the uncle will give you the boots location, and every and all bosses will have a guaranteed item, and it's not a dungeon item. So for the most part, this will be a pretty bog standard seed, with those rules in place. Now, as a little bit of a preface here, me and SoCal will also be tracking this. So if you guys, if we miss anything, feel free to yell at us. We're trying to do double duty today.
Double duty!
Yay! And it looks like the flag is being dropped right now. So yeah, it looks like from the looks of things, as we're looking at it right now, I see we have 6 runners in total, and we're showing 2 today. So the flag has dropped. Are you ready for Rando?
Who isn't ready for Rando?
Oh, for sure, yeah. What do you expect from this seed, by the way?
Well, I'm hoping for early boots.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Early boots would be a very nice find, and Uncle will give us the information right away. So as long as Plasma Counters does not accidentally delete his save file. Because he's hovering over the delete file button right now.
Well, that could be entertaining.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's the food of the gods. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Surger. And we are off. The boots location is going to be in the light world. And what we mean by the light world, we mean a light world check and a free Key of Samaria inside Link's house.
Well, that's convenient.
And we have our map check too. It's all red. The Tower of Hera having the red pendant, and the 5/6s are on Eastern and Desert.
Maybe we will get an early pyramid check as well.
Oh yeah. The worst thing that could possibly happen from the Light World's call here is if, for whatever reason, Mimic Cave has the boots. And that means we need to go to Turtle Rock for it. Uncle only having a single rupee and 20 rupees within the secret chest. And off we go to the escape sequence. Plasma is ahead of Calvin right at the moment, and now they're just gonna do this entire escape sequence because we're required to do this. This is standard as if you were starting up a vanilla Link to the Past game for the first time and starting to that save file. Going to kill the first guard here, that blue guard, and it's gonna give us the single arrow.
You never know when you're going to need that one arrow.
And that is a unique item for those who are in a bit of technicality. Back in version 30, that was considered a unique item, and it still technically is considered a unique item by the game. And it's just a spot that you don't normally expect to get it from.
It's always great in Ambrosia when you see that single arrow on a box.
All right, second chest here is going to be the Dark Cross key. Alright, up to Zelda's cell. We're gonna have to kill this ball and chain guard. Pasma just gonna use the one pot to do a bit of temper storm damage to make this play not as annoying to deal with. Okay, so it isn't me who's game this thing is behind. But
A big 20 in Zelda's cell.
okay, so nothing in the front. At this point now, we're looking for bombs from off of the drops in order for us to, well, get over to the back of escape all in one fell swoop.
Yeah, it's always good to get those bombs so you never have to come back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And at the moment, Plasma is ahead by an entire floor of Hyrule Castle. And Calvin is making their way through. I wouldn't be surprised if Plasma makes it to the sub 6, if possible. This early game is all about, through the standard starts, it's all about execution. It's a very execution-based thing. It gives you a bit of a lead if you can execute this escape sequence perfectly.
Yeah, it's always good to aim for that sub 6.
Yeah, and it's all if you'll probably you'll be taking advantage of a lot of tricks like air pumping, where you'll move a little bit faster by tapping the D-pad to the left, tapping the D-pad in a certain direction. But Plasma is going to go and check out the Dark Cross chest, and that's going to be 20 rupees as well. Plasma may elect to kill some of the rats to see if they're part of the prize, the bomb prize, have bombs for the prize bags. And there's that bomb from off of the rat.
And he's picking another one up here in the key room.
Alright, tougher to the back of escape we go. Because of that bombs in hand, we do find there the hammer, a map, and the powder. So right away, we have access to the magic bat. And now, Plasma is going to head out. It's going to be finishing off a time of 6 minutes and 4 seconds on the clock. Probably about 30 seconds ahead of Calvin, probably, or more so, depending on what happens. We get a heart container from off of the Sanctuary chest. Not the vanilla Sank heart, but it's a heart container nonetheless.
Now, hopefully, Plasma will find a bottle here so his Kakariko checks are pretty fast and quick.
Yeah, for sure. Plasma is going to now head up towards the tree pole. This will be the tier 2 tree pole. And it's just 5 rupees, and may opt to. I think he may be intending. Okay, he's got a heart. He's got a magic refill, so that's fine. So yeah, he's actually going to be Calvin is going to be back in the sanctuary. Made the sanctuary about a minute later after Plasma Kappa. So a bit of a minute lead. We have ourselves our lumberjack. Let's check just 3 bombs. We're not going to kill Aga 1 just for that, but we might need to kill Aga 1 in case we have to get into the dark world that way.
And just a side note, I believe we have our tracker now.
Yeah, and we do have to find the ice rod from off of Plasma Cap aside the mushroom spot, and we do have our new tracker on our on duty. We have Glacial. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to help us in this today. We are playing Ambrosia. It's still pretty early on, so you haven't missed much. So that's good, right?
Is, and now we don't have to do double duty. Yay!
Yay!
So Plasma is heading towards his Kakariko checks.
Yeah, but the bombs in hand that he got from off of the from the back of Escape, this is actually really good. Calvin had not went for the farming of the bombs. He just got the one, and that was it. So Calvin will have to hope that he finds bombs here, but Plasma will get the information here from off of the blind spot. So on blind spot, we do have 10 arrows, a heart piece, 3 bombs. So, and there's another set of 3 bombs. So Calvin is set.
Yeah, Calvin's gonna be happy when he sees those.
For sure, and 20 rupees within the bomb wall. And I'll probably fill this in for Glacial specifically, but Ambrosia is a standard assured sword seed, or a casual seed, where the uncle gave away the information about the boots, which happened to be in the light world, which means a light world overworld check. And all bosses will have a guaranteed item. That's not a dungeon item. Plasma Kappa finding the cape from off of the well. The bomb wall has a shield.
The Fisher Price shield.
Yeah. And the rest is nothing of use. Now, that cape means that we have the possibility to go and kill Aga 1 if we do find the lamp.
But we're not wishing that upon our runners.
Oh, no. They don't want to see it, but if it has to be, like, if there's no other options, you have to kill Aga 1 as a result. And it's something that new runners may not be familiar with if they will see it and like, wait, where am I supposed to go now? You may have to kill Aga 1, depending on if you have to go into Dark World Access, if that's your Dark World Access. You've exhausted everything.
Yeah, I always forgot that as a new runner.
For sure. And convenient bottle, that happened to be one of the vanilla bottle locations. So Kappa is going to go and check out the sick kid right away. And that yields bombos. The almighty Spinesh coin. And that bottle did also yield, had a blue potion in it. So that's always a nice safety to find a blue potion that's loose. A blue bottle that's loose. And I'm not talking about the bottle with the fairy in it that you gotta take to Gaia in Final Fantasy 1. Plasma Kappa now heading over to the magic bat, which makes sense because you got the hammer and the powder in the back of Escape. So this makes a lot of sense for Plasma to do this right now. The magic bat has the cane of
Blue cane.
Cane of Burna isn't bad. I mean, we have a better alternative to the cape in this regard because while the cape is nice, it does have a delay. But it's also its benefit is that you're able to use your sword for certain fights, while the Burna has no delay, but your only weapon is the invincibility stars that you have, and you cannot use your sword. 20 rupees on the library, and Plasma is going to just see the item on the race game.
Just a piece of heart. And just looking at the items here, Maybe once we get another bottle or something, maybe a spike cave check once we get the moon pearl.
Yeah. This is something that that you can't do. Given the fact that we probably would need more hearts this one too, because we would need like a lot of hearts to make that bottle play possible. So Plasma has now heading over to the South Shore area, while Calvin is going to go and play it blind. This actually will be a little bit slower compared to what Plasma Kappa did. And there's that lamp, so Aga 1 is now available to Plasma Kappa. Alright, time for the Sunken Treasure. Calvin will head over to South Shore as well. We'll get the lamp, and Calvin will have Aga 1 in play. And just 20 rupees from off of the Sunken Treasure.
Just some wet money, and we'll leave it behind.
I mean, it shines. It's not corroded or anything. It's not like a penny or a quarter or whatever. It's mystical money.
I'm filling some boots in here.
Yeah. The mini Moldorm Cave has 5 items, 4 chests and 1 NPC. All of those will contain items. So mini Moldorm Cave is going to give us a piece of heart, 50 rupees, another piece of heart, 3 bombs, and 10 arrows. So a random mismatch of just stuff, but nothing there's no boots or anything that could be useful in the current state of affairs.
Yeah, that was a 0 out of 10 mini Moldorm Cave for sure.
Yeah, I'm not really like considering like there have been a lot of different caves that have taken on the hype cave connotation ever since hype cave had not been as hyped as many people have said it was back in from like P18, which we did have a throwback race about I think a month ago.
Yeah, those were good times.
For sure. Ice Rod Cave check coming up for Plasma Kappa. Just a blue rupee, so nothing in South Shore. At this point, your
Maybe
best bet.
Eastern and Sarashvala, probably.
Yeah, it's your only available options at this point. Sahasrara's hut, and then the all important Eastern Palace play, which you will have to double dip because you're going to be going in there first. Going in there first because you're going to go bowlless, and then you have to, get the necessary materials for Dark Bolt access if you can find it here, or find something like the glove or flute that takes us up there anyway. Plasma, back there. There's the Moon Pearl, and the Fire Rod.
Sarashvala is hiding a lot of stuff in his closet today.
Yeah.
Calvin looks like he's going to Aghanim 1.
I don't understand this play, personally, because the Moon Pearl is very accessible. He
might just be trying to read the seed.
Yeah, it's possible that Calvin is using that using the time to go and say, hey, let's just do Echo 1 now. Let's not worry about everything else and go for it. Plasma reading the seed by himself, getting the Moon Pearl and the Fire Rod, that said, hey, I'm more likely to think that this is an Aga seed, and Eastern and Agina's cave has nothing. So let's go and do it anyway. But the troubling thing too is that Calvin will not get the Moon Pearl. He will get the information on what's on the pyramid ledge, but will ultimately spend time having to save and quit, and then get the Moon Pearl from off of Sahasrara's hut, and that's going to cost him time. Now, of course, Calvin could find something important on Pyramid Ledge, but then again, Plasma with the Moon Pearl is going to get the item off of the Pyramid Ledge and then some, heading over the pod, because at that point in time you're relegated to the pod area, going into pod or going over to Catfish for your remaining items. Yeah, and as our as Wolfman points out in chat, the fact that Calvin did this isn't his entire fault. It's
it's not a bad choice.
Yeah, but and again, as Wolfman points out, it's too soon. It's very soon for Calvin to do this when you already know where everything is. And Calvin's going to use the Bombos medallion for this room.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I personally would have checked all of East or done Sarashula and Eastern before going to Agna 1.
For sure, but we're about to approach the Aga 1 fights. So Aga 1 can fire from no blue balls to 15 blue balls in maximum. If you want to get your guesses about that in, do so right now, and I will explain how the Aga 1 fight works for those who are new to the randomizer. So, Aga 1's patterns is static. The first attack will always be a red ball, no questions asked. Attacks 2 through 4 is a 50-50. It can either be a red ball or a blue ball, which will do nothing as shown here. And then the 5th attack will always be a lightning attack, and the process will continue until you get 6 blue balls into Aga 1. Or 6 red balls into Aga 1. Currently, he's up to 3.
I'm thinking 3 blue balls sounds good.
Yeah, currently we're up to 2 blue balls. I'm guessing, unless that was the 1. There's another one.
That was number 2 there.
Okay, yeah. That's number 3. It's 2 more hits on Aga 1. That's 4 blue balls. Not a really good pattern there. Also, one thing to consider too is that Calvin will have the same fight, same pattern as Plasma Kappa in terms of the red balls and blue balls, because this is seeded. Unless you die, then the fight is going to be completely random.
And Calvin missed a red ball.
But Plasma Kappa gets the final blue ball in, or final red ball into Aga 1, and now he's into the Dark World. And there's the mirror.
Mirror on the wall.
Also, this is really good for Calvin. He will get the mirror, and he will mirror out. He will go over to Sahasrara and get the Moon Pearl. This is...
And I think we're gonna get a hype cave check here soon. And Calvin making his way into the Dark World. It's finding a red ring and a mushroom in hype cave. I missed what the NPC had in hype cave, but it might be too. And we have a green pendant on Turtle Rock and the other pendant on Thieves Town for our Dark World map check. And it looks like Calvin may be heading to Sarashala's closet to Mir to go to Sarashala. And K45 has the boots. There's that Light World location. And Calvin getting his Moon Pearl and Fire Rod. Plasma is playing the digging game. Just getting a full heart container, and I believe Plasma is back.
Plasma?
Oh, Professor's
Professor
back.
Renderer.
I'm looking at Plasma's name on the screen, and of course I said it.
Yeah. My apologies, guys. Discord froze for me.
You got to love technology.
Wow, technology. Calvin is going over to Pod, which is fair. This is something you will have to do eventually. And you're forced to go over this area because we don't have gloves. We don't have any glove whatsoever. We don't have Tidesmiths to go over to Vu. We don't have the hookshot to go over to Vu. So we have to go here regardless. Okay, we're also not Bolog, so that's something to consider. But Calvin almost gonna mirror out, but or at least saving quit out. But there's still that one Shast, so okay, so we're entirely we can get through this dungeon. We're not Bull-locked. We will need that bow eventually, though, because we will need to kill Helmasaur for that.
And I'm wondering if either player is going to do the bottle glitch with their blue goo.
I know Calvin used their potion, so Calvin won't do it. I don't believe Plasma used it.
And it looks like he's going to make that play.
Unless Plasma did get the bow and I missed it? Oh, he does have the bow, okay.
Bow.
Oh, and the gloves are also...
power gloves are here.
Yeah. Okay, so... Wait, okay, so Plasma does have the bow, so he knows that he's gonna do this thing. He will clear out Pod. Calvin is the only one who hasn't gotten it. I completely missed where that bow was. I was busy just fixing it up.
It may have been on Stumpy because I did not see what Stumpy had. If anyone can confirm that.
This is an interesting play for Plasma. Plasma is just gonna go and kill Helmasaur because he knows that this is Ambrosia. So he will go to. So okay. So thank you, chat, for confirming that it is Stumpy that had the bow. Seeing that Ambrosia is has a guaranteed sword, a guaranteed item, he's gonna kill Helmasaur first, before doing the rest of Pod. And this is something Calvin won't do until he gets the bow from off of Stumpy, because he doesn't have the bow yet. And there's that piece of art from off of the bottom right chest of the dark base, which I learned to do in the dark. It's not that it's actually not that difficult when you have a sword out, or you have a cane. You hold up your head, hold the block up over your head. 20 rupees in the big chest of Pod.
Calvin's heading out. I wonder if he's going to dip into Eastern. Nope, he's just going to save and quit.
Now, I don't know if I agree with this, because the bow is really close by, is really close to Stumpy, but seeing that the gloves are in Pod, that means
he's probably going to head to Hype Cave here.
Right. Yeah, he's gonna head for Hype, and he will probably get the bow from off of Stumpy eventually. I don't know when, but that's one of the possibilities. Probably he'll do it as soon as he gets done with that shack. And there's that piece of heart for Plasma Kappa, and also drawing first blood at 28 minutes and 56 seconds.
And also, just important, Calvin's probably will get his boots out of K45.
Yeah, K45 did have the boots. I did see that one. I was fixing up my Discord problem. Yeah, Plasma sent him back, so he will get the glove. That opens up a number of things. It opens up the entirety of Death Mountain. It doesn't open up Dark Death Mountain though, but the option is there.
Yeah, there are a ton of checks up there.
You have Village of Outcasts. You have Skull Woods. You pretty much the West Dark World is opened up. You have Graveyard Ledge. You have the Bumper Cave. You have the boots, the boots checks outside of. Don't you need the Titan's Mints for King's Doom? For if you're mirroring from the Dark World, or just the mirror itself?
You just need the mirror.
Okay, alright. So all the boots checks will be available.
But we have no way to access Village of Outcasts in that.
Well, we do have access to the Village of Outcasts because we do have the hammer and gloves.
That's right.
Yeah. Alright, Calvin's gonna get the boots from off of K45, and the bow was picked up from Calvin as well. So we'll see what Calvin decides to do once he's finished up here. He might end up heading for the Pod Eastern, but he's actually gonna head up to the digging game. I mean, that's fair. It's one shot you can do. This isn't really anything to hold him against it. It's something you will have to do eventually. But Plasma, seeing the opportunity, he's gonna go in and finish off Eastern Palace.
It's always good to have that 2-for-1 deal while you're over here.
Yeah, when it's also crystals too, you know that, I mean, Plasma didn't go here at all, and neither did Calvin. So this will be a single dip for both of the runners. There's the first item that is 50 rupees. One thing that's really nice about Ambrosia is that tracking items is very easy. All you gotta consider is that you subtract all of the overall checks, you subtract everything by 1. And you know that the other item is going to be on the boss.
Right, that's always a good thing to consider.
Yeah, for sure. Over to the compass chest. No, that's the map chest, right. I get the two confused. That's the big key.
So Plasma will have 2 more checks to get one more item before heading to Armo.
Yeah, Calvin is going to go over to the bunk rocks.
Without having to go to the big key chest.
Pack of arrows. And Calvin is electing to go up the mountain. This is fine. And the compass is in the big the big chest. So we'll do a full rotation, a full cycle through here. We'll kill Armos for the item, and we'll also get the item from off of the big key chest. But Calvin doing the Death Mountain play is fine.
Oh, for sure. Especially with all the checks that are on Death Mountain.
Yeah, it's very item dense, and this is something that Calvin can. This is something that Calvin is something that he will do because he hasn't went to the Dark World yet, but he does have the materials for that one too. 50 rupees from off of the big key chest of Eastern Palace. He'll go to kill Armos. The thing about Calvin though is that because of the fact that he will have the double dip pod, Plasma will be up to two crystals. He got the bow later, so that means that Plasma will get the leg up in terms of dungeons, but Calvin has the luxury of having the knowledge ahead of Plasma Kappa, so it's a double-edged sword.
Right. And Calvin is heading into Tower of Hera.
Yeah, and Spec Rock had nothing but a heart container and 300 rupees. There's the big key from Calvin. No hook shot though, so that means we won't see a Hera pot from Calvin. I wouldn't imagine Plasma if he doesn't find a hook shot from off of the Armos Knights. And,
ooh, Ether.
That's good. Ether medallion is fine. You're up to two medallions. You're up to 2 crystals as well because that's second crystal.
We'll see which way Plasma is heading now.
So looks like the big chest may have something, unless the remaining item is going to be in the back of Tower of Hera or the basement of Tower of Hera.
And it looks that way.
Yeah, so that means the basement of Tower of Hera has an item. Now, whether Calvin goes there after he's done with Moldorm is yet to be seen. Plasma, however, is going to Village of Outcasts, which is fine. Skullboy's Village of Outcasts area, West Dark World, whatever you want to call it. It's also not bad of a play too.
Yeah, completely with his loadout at the moment. It's a good play.
Right. And for Calvin's Moldorm fight, this will be pretty vanilla. This is okay. I see he's going to offer the hammer strats, 10% damage from a whack of the hammer, but it has a small hitbox, and that's the one thing that has the big drawback of it. $50 from off of the chess game as Calvin kills Moldor. Ooh.
Fluty.
That's important.
Yeah, so Hera was required.
and the brewery only having a piece of heart. And Calvin is opting to not go to the back of Hera, something that so he's effectively orphaning off the Hera basement. So whether Plasma goes back to do it as well remains to be seen as he dives into Thieves Town. Calvin giving us our Spiral Cave check.
Always better with boots.
Yeah, it's better than having to walk to it, which I don't think it's that slow compared to what chat says, but it's still slow when it feels slow, yes. It's just tedious because of the way that the circumstances is, but nothing of use at Spiral Cave.
And nothing of use in the front of Thieves Town.
But Plasma is elected to go for it, which is fine because he has the hammer. Doesn't have to worry about the big chest of Thieves Town having just having the big chest of Thieves Town having something of use if he doesn't have the hammer. Calvin, however, going over to the Paradox Cave, bottom two chests gives us the flippers and a heart container. That lets us enter Swamp Palace, but we're not going to be able to kill Argus without that hook shot. Right. Top 5 chests are 20 rupees, a piece of heart, 10 arrows, another piece of heart, and the Book of Adora.
Some literature.
Calvin debating whether or not he wants to save and quit. And it says, yeah, let's save and quit.
That makes Desert Fulclarable as well.
Yeah. You'll be able to read.
And he can do Mire there too. Yeah. Well, depending on the medallion at least.
Right. Because we know that Plasma has the Ether Medallion from off of the Armos Knights, and we know that the flute was available for the Moldorm, but we can't go into the Mire area at the moment because we'll need the Tidesmiths for it.
True. Just getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, but all fair. But you are right in the fact that in the reasoning of saying, yeah, Desert Palace is clearable. It's full clearable. So Calvin has the flute activated, and Plasma heading over to the back of gonna get the maiden from out the maiden chest. More likely than not, if there's a map. Okay, so we know that the map is going to be in the Thieves Town bait chest. And because of Ambrosia's settings, Blind will have the item, and he's able to skip the bait chest of Thieves Town. The mushroom turn-in is 300 rupees. Again! Plasma starting the blind fight up. Has a different does not have the blind script, but it's gonna have to go for a different pattern here. Calvin is heading back to Ice Rock Cave, gonna get the 5 rubies there. But that's a blind kill for Plasma Kappa. That's now up to it's at least a pendant. But nothing of use in the back in Thieves Town.
So I guess the golden question is, where is the hook shot? Ormits. So now, we can clear both 5-6 dungeon.
However, Plasma did get the shuffle from off of the C-shaped house. But in the grand scheme of things, after he's done with Skull Woods and the rest of the northwestern Dark World. Going off of what we've seen thus far with the hammer and the flippers, the scene may be suggesting that the hookshot or tidesmiths could end up in Swamp Palace. We haven't done a whole lot of overworld checks because Calvin's doing the Man Underneath the Bridge and Plasma is doing King's Tomb, which is fair plays. 3 bumps from the Man Underneath the Bridge and 50 rupees from King's Tomb.
And I'm sure we'll get a graveyard ledge check here.
Yeah, this alone is sensible.
Well, Calvin is probably going to head up to Zora.
Yeah, he'll go over to the Waterfall of Wishing and do the rest and do Zora's Domain as well. There's the Tidesmiths. So that means Ice Palace is now ready to go. We have Maya ready to go. Okay, so this will be an interesting case. Plasma has yet to get the flippers.
Or the flute.
Or the flute, yeah, because that... Calvin has that information already loaded up. Plasma, head over to Skull Woods. 3 bumps from off of Zora Ledge.
What does Zora have for sale today?
Probably nothing much.
An armor upgrade.
The mail's not bad for the money. That's not a bad find to get. I definitely would pay 500 for a shirt like a tuxedo, but for mail is not that's not a bad find for Calvin. It's protection. Cuts damage down. But it doesn't affect environmental damage like falling rocks or spikes.
Right.
Because those are 1 hit no matter what. 1 heart no matter what. And Calvin making a decision what he wants to do was heading over to Kakariko. Village of Outcast play for him. Now, Calvin, this is going to be good news.
Is he going to check the pedestal? Oh wait, no, he doesn't have... I got really excited there for a second. I think we're getting a pet check. Pet check hype as Plasma takes on... Oh, just a rupee horde. As Plasma Mothula takes him down. Getting 20 rupees for his troubles. And now he's up to 3 crystals. And it looks like Calvin is making his play into Skull Woods while Plasma's going to check the chest here, hoping that there's something in it, and just a small key. And I'm thinking Plasma, not Plasma, Professor is, his Twitch froze again, so hopefully we'll get him back in here soon. As Plasma's still looking for that other item. Just finding a piece of heart.
Okay. So, looking like nothing on Skull Woods.
Not a whole lot, just the crystal.
Okay.
And Bumper Cave just has 3 bombs.
And is mirroring over to Death Mountain, which is the correct call. Now, one thing Calvin did not do, which isn't really so, which isn't really doesn't feel good, is he did not go over to Graveyard Ledge for the Titan's Mitts.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, because hadn't he gone there after finishing after going through Skull Woods, he would have had the Titan's Mitts and would have been in a better position. Plasma, since he's going up the mountain, is going to get the flute and the mitts. But gets that wrong. But this is going to help Plasma's case, because at that point you're getting into a situation where, like, you're now heading in. You'll be a little bit closer to go mode. You're just looking for a hook shot and whatever medallion.
Right.
And yeah, whatever medallion is required for Misery Mire. And Plasma will have that information as soon as he kills Moldworm. And if I want to be honest, the seed is probably pointing towards Ice Palace at that point for Plasma.
Yeah, I know. You have everything to take it down. He is whirling by Tower of Hera right now.
Alright, he's gonna rub that in last, which is fine. It's not a bad decision. So it will be a delay of the Titan's Mitts for Plasma Kappa, but it's actually gonna drop down. So my hunch is that he's probably going to be saving and quitting first, and then he's going to head back to Tower of Hera, because that flute is still waiting for Plasma. And for Calvin, that Titan's Mitts is still waiting over on Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, hopefully he'll go there right after this.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if Calvin did do this, because this is the play you should be making after finishing off Skull Woods, heading towards the Northern Dark World, at least the central North Dark World, and clearing it out. However, Plasma will have a bit more knowledge here, because Plasma is mirroring from Dark World to Death Mount to Paradox Cave, so he will be getting the flippers here. And in addition to this, he will have information. He's gonna get Super Bunny Cave, and he's able to bonk towards the first chest of Hookshot Cave. Calvin using that potion on Mofula, because this fight's really annoying, because if you hit Mofula up against the spikes, it's not going to do anything. Because for whatever reason, that's the way the game is programmed.
But he takes him down and getting his 20 rupees.
Okay,
and his first crystal.
Okay, so this is at 51 minutes. this is after considering after Plasma had done 3 crystals down. Now, Calvin may not be feeling so hot about this, knowing that he'd done a lot of overworld checks and had not dived the dungeon like a crystal dungeon since Pod Bolus.
Yeah, if I was him, I would be feeling like I need to clear out some crystals, like great.
Yeah, Super Bunny Cave is giving us Piece of Heart and the other mail. And Plasma is going to check out the bunk chest of Hookshot Cave, which is fair. It's one of the things you can do with the boots. And there's a Master Sword.
It's always nice to have a little bit more power. That's definitely a required item.
Alright. Calvin is going over to... He's going over there right now. So... This is good news for Calvin, because Meyer area is now opened up. The one thing that he'll be missing is that Master Sword inside the bunk chest of Hookshot Cave. But Kaba finding out that Bombus is required for Turtle Rock has opted to open it up. My hunch is that he's gonna go inside it.
That would be my hunch too.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's gonna do. Now, Green Pen Turtle Rock is not a fun dungeon to go into. It's arguably one of the worst spots to put the green pendant on. And yet there's a whole saying in the community where if the green pendant's on Turtle Rock, there's bound to be something there.
Right.
So Plasma going here while doing doing Dark Death Mountain makes a lot of sense.
But this could be good news for Calvin.
Yeah, if Plasma finds nothing here, then this is a huge time sink for Calvin, and this is an ample opportunity to get his foot into the door and blow the seed wide open in a Meyer play.
Calvin getting his shovel, maybe he'll... I don't know if we've gotten a check of that yet from Plasma.
I don't recall Plasma doing it. And our tracker has confirmed to us that the shovel has not been checked. So Calvin may also be able to blow the seed wide open if Calvin finds the hook shot or the other medallion that the Quake medallion. And that will put us in null mode if Sugar's null mode, provided that Misery Meyer does not have the other is not Quake. Or it'll put us, if it's Quake, then we're gonna be searching for that one. But if it's not, then we're in null mode.
Calvin's taking the Smith for a little ride.
This is fair. And also doing hammer pegs in addition to that, which is another fair play, because this is something that Plasma has yet to do, because he went headfirst into Death Mountain originally.
And just a 50.
Yeah, I do like the bunny sprite for Plasma Cab, but it's the purple Link sprite, because this is the 4 swords Link sprite, and there's the tempered sword from off of the big key chest.
So this could be a little trouble for Calvin, depending where the hook shot is. with the Master Sword being in Hookshot Cave and the Tempered being in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, this is inhibiting on a lot of sword potential for Calvin, because all of those are up on Death Mountain, and it doesn't. And Calvin does not want to see that will come when he goes over to Dark Death Mountain to clear it out. And Calvin's going to do the shovel spot while pulling the purple chest, which is fine. This is something you'll do in addition to this while Plasma is heading over to Mimic Cave. So far, nothing but the Tempered Sword has been found that is of importance to us. 10 arrows in Mimic Cave. And a fire shield for Calvin.
Will we have purple chest hype?
Yep, hold on. Nope.
Nope.
Okay. That key in the Crystal Roller Room is going to be found eventually. Calvin is floating away. Okay, he wants to get a bit closer to Desert Palace, which is fine, and also going to check the Desert Ledge 50 rupees there.
Finally getting a Meyer shot.
So this will determine whether or not we will need the Quake or not. And the green survey says we need Ether. So all Calvin needs to do is go and kill Arwos for the Ether Medallion, and then get the hook shot. Another bottle for Calvin in the Meyer Shed. And Plasma opting to take the safety door, taking a lot of damage there. Which makes sense given the fact that we don't have a mirror shield at all. And that could be a problem. And I think Plasma is using that iframes from the fall to get him a bit of a damage, just to give him a bit of some iframes there. 300 rupees there, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be the big key here, or the key there. Let's take a def here, but it's got the safety door, so it really shouldn't matter. And we are approaching as we cross through the 1 hour mark. I will say this though, these runners are great runners. They're putting their names out there for your enjoyment. And there's that small key from off of Laser Bridge, by the way. This is out of a pool of 6 other players, and we're only showing 2 of us today. And it would be a crime if you didn't follow them. Calvin and Plasma Kappa, they're putting their names out there, like I said. And our tracker for the day is Glacial. We coming in near the start of the seed to help us alleviate our trouble from having to do double duty today. I'm Professor Render, and my co-com is SoCal 2044. Plasma finishing off phase 1 of the Tridex fight. Now it's Trinex down for Plasma Kappa. Calvin is continuing the trek through Desert Palace, going to fight Lamo. And a piece of heart, so that alone, pending the green pendant, that was a bust outside of the Tempered Sword.
Yeah, Though it's always nice to have tempered.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's nothing
depending
wrong
where
with
that fourth sword is.
Yeah. This is nothing wrong for Plasma Kappa because having tempered is better than anything else. This will be this assures us of a Silver Scanner fight. While Plasma Kappa is opting to go and check out the Ether tablet, this is something that you can check right away. And Calvin's on the Lambo fight, Bogslater fight 2. A heart container is from the Ether tablet. Not opting to go.
Era.
Yeah, this isn't the This isn't the right call. Obviously, this doesn't help them. It doesn't help Plasma Kappa because we know that Moldor has the flute, and we need that flute to get over to the Mire area. And Calvin's the only one who has it. So, provided that Calvin says Turtle Rock is not the answer, which it isn't, outside of a tempered sword, or outside of a sword at least, then this is his call to not go there was this gives Calvin a lot of time to work with. Plasma is going to look at the Bombos tablet while Calvin is looking at Checkerboard Cave. And 10 arrows, so that book is absolutely useless. And Calvin's gonna grab that piece of heart from off of the Checkerboard Cave.
Going to see our good pal Gina.
Yeah, this is in the area. You're gonna go and check this right now. This is the last of the Sphere 1 checks. And 20 rupees. So, if I was Calvin right now,
You would have to go to Pod.
Yeah, you have to go to Pod Eastern. You have to go there. Because what Calvin is looking at right now is, so as long as Calvin does not go to Turtle Rock, of course the green pendant could be the answer, because that's Plasma Kappa did get the green pendant. So as long as he doesn't go to Turtle Rock just to get a tempered sword or get a sword or something, then I see Calvin in a pretty good position. Because, let's put it this way. Calvin is going to finish off the rest of the crystals that he had missed prior. So that means double dipping Pod, and then single dipping Eastern.
Right, and he might even opt to check the Pyramid Fairy after that Eastern.
Yeah, because Pyramid Fairy will be available to and if that's the answer, then well, Plasma is heading over to Desert Palace right now. He's making a mad dash to get that cleared. So
he might be thinking that's where the flute is.
Yeah, that's one of the other things too. Because remember that the Moldorm had the flute, and that was the only reason why Calvin had done the Mire area. Once he gets the Ether Medallion from off of the Armos Knights, once he enters Go mode, he's gonna be full clearing that like no other. I mean, to be fair, Plasma will also do the same thing as well, but Calvin is going to be ahead, provided that he makes the right calls and finds the hook shot eventually.
Right.
So that alone tells me that when we are done, as we're looking at Swamp Palace looks looks fine, looks to be like the sea would be directing us to. Ice Palace is also another spot that might be leading Calvin towards.
Yeah, we could always have that French vanilla hook shot in Swamp.
Yeah, and that would put Calvin in a really good position. If Calvin decides to go and finish off, goes to Swamp after finishing off like Mire or something, or something else, then odds are Hookshot could end up being French Vanilla, and all he's got to do is find another sword, and he'll be in go mode. Now, for Calvin's case, he wants to find some silver arrows, so that way he doesn't have to kill himself, having to do doesn't have to do like this step. I don't know how to word this better. He doesn't have to spend like hours or like a lot of time on the on Master Sword Silver List.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
I was looking at it for another word other than like, you know, that.
I think we're getting that big red bomb check.
Yeah, this is Plasma Kappa's call. This is after Plasma had finished off doing Eastern originally, so this could catapult him back into the lead if he goes back into Hera. Opting to go for the duplication here. Very precise. And gets it.
Bahamut King goes down on Calvin's side, giving him his third crystal.
Yeah, and this alone doesn't seem like it doesn't feel good for Calvin having to come back, but this alone, okay, looking up for there, half magic from off of Plasma Kappa side. Not what he's looking for, but it's a nice find nonetheless. Alright, this is the green panda check for Plasma Kappa. If the hook shot ends up here, then all he's looking for, it has to go back, is to go up to Misery Mire, or Misery Hera to get the flute.
Yeah,
if it's here, then this is...
He would have a commanding lead, but it's not.
Okay.
So...
The only reason that Calvin would want to go into Turtle Rock at this point in time is if there's no other swords and he's still looking for a sword.
For his sake, we hope that's not the case.
Yeah. And this pretty much reinforced what I was saying about Plasma Kappa spending time in Turtle Rock. This gives Calvin tons of time to. This gives Calvin time to get the Ether Medallion, and then continue the Misery Mire dive. That or go into Swamp Palace. Now, another thing to consider too. Both runners had left the Hera basement alone, and we know that has an item in it. And Spike Cave was also been left alone.
Oh boy.
Plasma's opting to go for Catfish. This is out of the way, and this could be one of those spots where Calvin may not go back to Catfish once he's finished. If he doesn't go to Catfish and we find as an item, that means Plasma is gonna be able to come least bring this race close. But not like so close that it's an actual race. It closes the gap between Calvin and between Calvin and himself. So, in theory, if this works out for Plasma Kappa, then it's close to the gap so much that provided that Calvin skips out on Catfish.
Right.
No, 3 bombs. So Calvin remains remains in a pretty good position. However, Plasma Kappa is opting to go for Ice Palace, which is another dungeon that that you can clear. This makes a lot of sense for Plasma Kappa at this point. It will have to be either Mire, Swamp, or Ice. And generally, a lot of runners would want to just go and full clear Ice and just get it out of the way.
Right, especially now with Ice.
Yeah, with Icebreaker, this makes Ice Palace a lot more manageable than it was previously. It's still annoying as hell, heck, yes. But Icebreaker makes it not as annoying. Okay, Calvin onto the Armos Knights. This will give him the Ether Medallion. Okay, there's Ether Medallion for Calvin, and Plasma is opted to go for Icebreaker. This is fine. This is gonna work out because he did hit the switch, and he's gonna be attending to full clear this. He's gonna be able to clear this out anyway. So, Icebreaker will let him clip through the barrier. It's very finicky though. So, there you go. So you get it. Oh, the Silver Arrow bow is in. So, this is good for Calvin if he goes back and once he gets the Master Sword and gets over to Ice Palace. This will help him with his Master Sword fight.
Once he finds his Master Sword.
Yes, and Calvin is opting to go into Mire, which is a call that that makes the most sense to me. At this point, you have to do the okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Calvin. Very cool. And Calvin is doing the bonk setup. One thing you can do with bonking up against that block is that you can, if you turn in a certain direction and then if you face up, press A and then turn towards the block, you'll be able, and you press left towards the block, you'll be able to turn, and it makes that sequence a lot more manageable.
And Plasma's into his Cold Stare fight.
And of course, we found the 2 items, so we know that Cold Stare will have to have something because of the Ambrosia setting. This got interesting.
There it was.
This has gotten interesting. Calvin is now a sword away from go mode. This is the correct. This is now, actually, in hindsight, it might not be as good as you may think that. Oh, and the fact that it's a Godmire too.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
So how long will it take Plasma to get up to Hera to get the flute?
This will be interesting because now we've known for sure that Pendant Hera was the correct answer all the way through. This puts Calvin in a good position. Now, the one thing that Plasma Kappa has compared to Calvin is the Temper Sword Silver's fight. Depending on what happens, he might not be heading back towards once he gets the sword from off of Hookshot Cave, he may not end up going to get the silvers from off of Ice Palace and just say, you know what, we're gonna roll a Master Sword Silverless. I wouldn't be surprised though if Calvin decided to check more chests in Ice just to be sure that he doesn't get it.
Right, especially when they're right there.
Yeah. And
especially if he does Icebreaker, it's going to be right there.
Right. And this alone tells me that Calvin may have has a good shot, but it really just depends on what happens. Now, I think he may have. No, he hasn't got the flute. No, he's gonna check pedestal. Which in Plasma Kappa's case, that could have had the flute. Unfortunately, we know that it's just a rupee hoard, so it's not pedestal for It's not the pedestal for Calvin or for Plasma.
Which might be worse for Plasma because seeing it not on pedestal might not make him want to go to.
Yeah, and this just says to me that if he goes swamp, then that tells me that he might be thinking that the flute is on swamp as on left side swamp when it isn't. Calvin using bomb strats here for this Vitreous fight could up to. Oh, well, actually, he's got a fighter sword, so this makes a lot of sense for Calvin. Going for some low percent strats here.
Yeah, this fight would give me heartburn in real life.
Yeah. Plasma doing the Smith chain. Again, this will push him farther away from Hera. But Calvin... And honestly, Plasma has all the time in the world to make up all the time ahead. All he has got to do is go over to Hera and complete it. Ooh.
And that's an unfortunate death.
He ran out of bombs. He's gonna save and quit. Okay. So I'm not gonna put it against him for leaving this by itself. He needs to look for a sword. And that could be his call really is saying, you know, let's do swamp. Or something. Of course, Calvin could also buy potions, which is exactly what he's doing. And this is fair. This that death alone is not nice, and you probably want to have those safeties on hand. You have 2 bottles to work with. Okay,
yeah,
he's heading for
like
ice.
I see.
Okay, so he will get the silvers.
He will.
And this is good for Calvin. Yes, it's not. Yes, well, Calvin isn't gonna get the sword here. getting the silvers here, getting the silvers is also a good option.
Yeah, it'll help him get rid of Vitreous.
Yeah, it'll be the Space Invaders fight that I'd like to consider whenever there's a Silverus Vitreous fight or Silverus Vitreous fight.
And I would have to be assuming Plasma's going into Swamp at this point.
Alright, so yeah, this isn't really helping Plasma out because that's why I was figuring. He thinks that Swamp has the flute, which it doesn't, and ultimately thinks that the hookshot is there, French Vanilla, but again, it isn't there. So he's spending time looking in left side Swamp when he could have done it. Like he could have went to Hera and finished it off. Spike Cave would also be one of those options too. Before he has up to Hera, would have to save and quit though.
Calvin must not know Icebreaker yet.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is fine. I don't hold it against him for Calvin not feeling a bit comfortable with doing left side doing Icebreaker and opting to go for the bomb jump instead. Pretty low. That was a really low placement of the bomb of his sword. Yep. Okay, so he's opting to just to say, you know what? No, I'm not gonna bother the bomb jump. So instead, I'm just gonna do it the normal way. It's gonna cost time, yes, but like, I don't want to hold it. I don't want to hold it against him.
It's not going to cost him that much time with Somaria and Big Key already.
Yeah, and tried to hook shot over, and got the block instead. He was pretty high up on the position on his position there. Okay, there we go. Now, these execution problems would probably give Plasma Kappa more time. Gives Plasma Kappa more time to get him to finish up the race. Well, not finish up the race. Let him catch up to the point where he will get the flute from off of Hera, and ultimately he will be able to finish off the seed. As a whole, it will be ahead of Calvin by a large margin.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be coming down to Calvin's execution overall.
Right. But as someone, but really, this was a tough one. Calvin would have to have a really good execution, have to execute really well, and if he wants to catch up to Plasma Kappa, because at this point in time, Plasma is running out of checks, but he's doing them a lot more quicker because of the execution, because of his better execution overall. If his last location, he'll will last location the flute, yes, and eventually the hookshot, but this alone. There's another bottle, by the way, over on left side Swamp. The left chest, sorry. It will give him time to check more chests, and then eventually he'll catch up to the point where that Hera's the answer, and you have to go here, regardless. and 3 bombs from off of the right side. So Plasma Kappa's out. And with that in mind, Plasma may have picked up what was going on.
Looks that way.
Yeah. So at this point, Plasma is thinking it's probably Hera. I've had it in the back of my mind, and none of my plays have paid out. It has to be left side, or left side. It has to be Hera. Somebody else picked up from Calvin. If it goes Spike, that's another option. But it looks like it's gonna be Hera. So, in about a few minutes or so, Plasma Kappa will be one step closer from being into go mode. That the pickup of the flutes will say that to go to Meyer, and Meyer is gonna say that's where your go mode hookshot is going to be. And if I want to be honest, Calvin, while he did get the flute earlier and found the hookshot, it really just came down to the fact that, honestly, Plasma has more equipment than Calvin did before going into Vitreous.
Yeah.
So, if I want to be honest, as soon as Plasma gets the flute here, it's his race to lose. And then after it's the hookshot. And this does not feel good for Plasma, knowing that he had skipped out on Hera for the longest period of time, had many opportunities to go into Hera, but opted to leave it behind in favor of other checks. Which, I don't want to fault Plasma for this at all. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you have a lot opened up to you. You have a lot available to you. And with that in mind, like, going to Hera with a pendant makes a lot of sense. There's the flute for Plasma Kappa, and is often just it's often to take a fall here, like figuratively and literally fall. Like that was his own fall, literally falling, and yeah, it hurts. It hurts to see it. It's really, it does hurt.
It does.
Calvin's heading back to for Swamp Palace, which again, it's okay, but because he's looking for a sword. The problem with that though is that because he's looking for that sword, this gave Plasma Kappa all the time in the world to come back, and he did so with the play towards Hera. He has more equipment than Calvin. He's got red meal, he's got half magic, he's got silver arrows, 14 hearts, and 2 potions. At the end of the day, when it really started to get a clue us in originally, where Plasma found the 2 swords on Dark Death Mountain. One of them was on Hookshot Cave, and the other one was in Turtle Rock, Green Pendant Turtle Rock. And that alone, the Green Pendant Turtle Rock sword, is terrible to find. It's a terrible spot to find.
Yeah.
Because if it's so out of the way. You have to go into a dungeon that inevitably is going to turn out nothing. And the only thing of use there is that Master Sword.
Yeah, I don't. Calvin's not going to do that. He might get the one in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But so Plasma Kappa is going to head into heading to Meyer right away, and this is his only available option, and this is the correct call. He had taken his figurative fall from killing Moldorm for that flute. Ops did not get the green pendant because he knows that pedestal is dead, and took the literal figurative and literal fall, and is now into Meyer as we speak, finishing off Meyer 2. Go mode will be very, very soon. And by soon, it'll be, I mean, like, in the next 5 seconds. Or 10 seconds, whatever. 5 to 10 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, at an hour, 33 minutes, and 43 seconds, Plasma Kappa is finally in go mode, and with a huge lead to boot.
Calvin might find his sword back here, though.
Yeah. If Calvin finds a sword here, it's fine. He'll enter go mode. If not, then Calvin needs to head up to Dark Death Mountain. Now, the thing about the problem though with his sword situation is there's the final bottle. There's the final bottle for that. If Plasma has the sword advantage, he's got Tempered Sword, and Calvin will have to go back into Meyer because he did die on Vitreous.
He did, and it would be something if the last sword's on Vitreous.
If that was the case, then this hurts, because Calvin could have, if Calvin had not died, he would have been in go mode. Before Plasma Kappa. It really just came down to his equipment situation. Just 20 rupees on Vitreous. That's the second to last crystal for Plasma Kappa.
You gotta love hookshot hammer strats.
Yeah, for sure. So Plasma is now heading over to Swamp Palace as we speak. This alone... This alone, with the... While Calvin did have the advantage going throughout most of the seed, as Signums points out in chat, Kappa had the equipment and execution advantage over, and there's go mode for Calvin. That bailed him out, but the problem now is that Plasma Kappa was going to have gold sword,
right?
And that's going to be pretty fruitless because gold is just going to be an easy 1/1 a 1/1 cycle and nothing else.
Right. So it definitely is Plasma's race to lose.
Right. But at this point in time, Calvin will have to execute as best as execute well, because now he's in go mode, and
he'll be able to take Vitri.
Yeah, because he will have cleared Vidi. He's already gone through the most of Mire to the point where it's just an execution race. But considering that Plasma had already full cleared Swamp, this will prove to be fruitless overall. Because Plasma, with him doing Diver down here, and Calvin just going into Mire, is not gonna help. Like, Calvin is doing a longer dungeon compared to Plasma.
Right.
So I'm still gonna put Plasma in the lead, even if it's close. The worst thing that could really happen for this, if the only thing for this race to be close at the moment is if something bad happens within the Ganon fight or up Ganon's tower. And I don't expect Plasma to have that critical error.
Yeah, I don't either.
But there's with that in consideration too, Calvin it's not over for Calvin because of what I'm saying. Even if it means that while Plasma is going to get the gold start here in the 7th Crystal, Calvin will have the 7th Crystal in Vitreous, but it still be an execution race. But anyway, we're not gonna run up bots because we're not in the league, or in any tournaments. We just got the tournament. The last tournament was like literally 2 months ago, or 2 or 3 months ago. But inside Ganon's tower, there are 22 locations where the big key could potentially be. From 1 to 22, get your guesses in chat where you think the big key might be. You have plenty of time to guess here, because Kappa is going to be climbing up the mountain very quickly, while Calvin is on that Space Invaders fights right now. He's going to nail the UFO after this last little invader. Nailed it. So Cole.
Yes.
What do you think where do you think the big key is going to be?
I'm going to say 13.
I want to say I'm going to say 8.
8. I'm thinking it's going to be close to Rando.
Yeah, if he decides to go right left, and there's no keys in right left. Calvin has the 7th and final crystal too. It's off to go and to fight GT on the GT, and Plasma is about to open up, break the seal onto Ganon's tower. All guesses will close as soon as Plasma Kappa has entered GT. And with that in mind, 21 chests and a torch separates Plasma Kappa from getting the big key and completing the siege once and for all. Let's do this. Right side first, Hope Room. Number 1 is going to yield another heart and a piece of heart. We're forced to go left side. Now,
ooh, a bug net.
That's practically useless. So Calvin is going to spend time checking chests, which I don't blame them. He's going to get red mail from this. If he goes up to Hookshot Cave, then he will get the Tempered Sword.
I'm thinking he's going to.
Yeah, that's it. He's gonna go get it. Number 5, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So that was 7.
Yeah, 7. 8 will happen to be in the fire bar room. Ooh, bad fall there. But at this point too, if that fall could actually bring it close, depending on what happens. If he goes left, if Kevin goes the left side first, then
Full left side, it'll pull it a little closer.
Yeah. If he goes Dark Magician, and if the big key happens to be in the compass chest, then Calvin has the lead. It would have to be execution that carries it through, though. It's going ahead. So he's heading for left, which is gonna save him a bit of time. But Plasma again with having the execution route, having more execution over Calvin throughout this entire race, will probably do it a little bit faster. Number 9 is going to be a small key. All right, number 10, 11, 12, and 13 is on the way for Plasma Kappa. All right, number 10 is a piece of heart. Number 11 is 20 rubies. Number 12 is the last shield, and number 13 is a compass. Calvin is opting to go for Dark Magician strats.
Oh.
Now, Calvin, if Calvin's Dark Magician play works here, this will pull Plasma. That will pull Plasma into the lead. Or that'll pull Calvin into the lead for a little bit. It will have his execution, and his execution needs to carry through enough for Plasma to keep Plasma at bay. This is number 14?
14.
Yeah. Oh!
There she is.
And that alone... Now, so Plasma Kappa's 14 is... That alone, that gives him more time. Number 14 was guessed by P-Lifer first. The 13 would not count on the second one. But, actually, no. I apologize. Telagi is against 14. I guess 14 first. I'll count P-Lifer as well, since I made that error. So, congratulations, you win internet points.
Woo, internet points.
Yay. So, yeah, all at this point, Plasma this is fully his race to lose. The only thing that could really happen to Plasma at this point in time is a fall on Moldorm, a fall from a death in GT, a fall from Moldorm, or a Ganon death, or a Ganon fall.
Yeah, you never know what'll happen, but Plasma's execution is fairly...
Yeah, and this is evident in this gauntlet right now.
It will help Calvin that he did go full right.
Yeah, he's gonna end up in Bob's chest. This of course gives us the big key. But given the execution, but I have to stretch this again. Plasma's execution is better. Not to mention too, he's got a minusculely better Ganon fight with the gold sword. It's a 1-1.
Right.
Really, at this point, Plasma is just gonna carry this race all the way over to victory. Currently 2 floors ahead of Calvin. Rose Robe 1 and 2 coming up. Finishes up Rose Robe 1. Finishes up 2.
So satisfying.
that's why it's one of my favorite my favorite set of rooms in the entirety of the game. It's so satisfying when you know how to pull it off.
We should call it the Snickers room. Satisfied?
We might get in trouble if we
Sure.
use Snickers
Sure,
like
we
that.
can't do that. We can't do that.
Right. Okay, so Plasma. Now, of course, now on to the important, and the last few rounds here. All that's left really is to go and kill Moldorm 2. And really, now the race is just, it's all Plasma Kappa. Calvin is moving through GT rather is I'm not gonna put it against Calvin because, like I said, Calvin is a good runner. I don't want to say he's a bad runner because of the execution he had. No. He's doing his best as he can. And Moldorm 2 just has 20 rupees. Not really too surprising. Calvin is also spending some time going into the safety room just to get some fairies. This alone pretty much just settles it. Plasma will be able to win this. I wouldn't say as a sub 150, but it's gonna put him. This is gonna finish it off. Just because we did get a double, we get a single this round. This is a really good lineup. Only a single. And another Dave's double to add it up. And yeah, another Dave's double to add it up. That's a lot of calories for a big pig. Onto the game to fight for Plasma Kappa. It will be at least a low 150.
Yeah, it should be around 151 or so.
Phase 3 for Plasma Kappa on the way.
Oh no, silver is my weakness.
My one true weakness. But that's phase 4, signaling. Torch glitch, again, it doesn't really matter. It's just a pretty simple fight, but that's gonna do it. Get your GGs in chat. For Plasma Kappa, and all he's gotta do now is across the 1x3 bridge, and he will be done with this seed. Finally, putting it to rest. And we'll finish first on the restream with an official Astral time of 150.41, and also finishing first overall. Is sending help, coming in sending help. Really should be saying helps received, but I'm not gonna judge. Also, hi Kappa. Kappa Pride.
Thanks, Moldorm.
Yeah. So, the biggest question I have, really, is why did you leave Hera off as long as you did?
Oh, well, I've already been to 2 empty pendant dungeons. And, you know, I haven't used my flippers at all. It's like, well, okay, we got ice. We got swamp. I'm sure the hook shot's in swamp.
Right. And it just happened to be that Calvin had the information before you, and he was the one who got the hook shot. I mean, the flute first. and then a little bit later on, the seed happened to get the information that hookshot was the answer in Meyer, but throughout the rest of the race that you had, you have the equipment advantage all the way through. You went into Green Penitential Rock, got a sword out of it. We got the sword from off of the Hookshot Cave. I'm good at recalling stuff. And then there was that one on Argus.
Yep.
The swords were not placed in a really good spot, and it inevitably resulted in Calvin having a tough time on Vitreous, and gave enough time for you to catch up through a number of reasons.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he ended up dying to Vitreous with Fighter Sword without Silvers and had to come back later.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite rough.
Yeah, and it really, it wasn't. I don't know how to describe it. It hurt. Yes.
Yeah.
It was a pain to see that happen, and but it led to opportunity for you, Calvin, to finish it off once and for all, and then, yeah.
Yes.
The entirety of the seed really was just a slow trickle of all the important items that you need.
Yeah. I skipped. Here was the first time I didn't actually full clear anything in front of me. Naturally, the exact wrong choice.
Right. So, Calvin is now on to the Ganon fight right now. Is finishing up phase 2. He does have a potion, I recall. I think.
I think he does. Unless he used them.
Yeah, he should have a potion, but this is but at this point now it doesn't matter. Phase 3 is so as long as he doesn't get into any complications with fire bats, then he's good. Okay, so Calvin on to phase 4. Silver is his true weakness, of course, and all right. Good spot for that fire bat to spawn. Do not fall off. Okay.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Ooh, that alone was that hit there. I don't know if he actually has a. Does he have a potion? I don't think he has.
I don't think so.
Like he hasn't hovered over his potion. He does. I think he doesn't have one. But it's just gonna be a clutch here. So Optimus, just leave it alone for now. This is gonna be bad.
Oh.
Oh! That's pretty much was just. Ugh.
That was.
Honestly, that fire bat spot. I think. He could have. I think he could have dodged.
I think he should have just went down.
I think. I think that was the case too. But or it could have just like hit from below and like faked out, like baited out the fire bats, kind of like a Master Sword Silverlet, like a Silverless hit, but go for the hit, like just try to go for the hit regardless.
Right.
And then now. Calvin does have a cape, now, but he doesn't have half magic to help back it up, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. He's gonna use the cape here. It's wasting a lot of magic for this on this. Could be hitting him a lot more. Could be hitting more hits there, but again, I'm not Calvin really. But phase 3 is
I'll run phase 3. Yep.
Got more magic to work with, or got a lot more health to work with this time. So he can take at least 3 fire bat shots. And I think 1.5 Gannet hugs. Yeah, 1.5 Gannet hugs, because that's 4 hearts. Okay. Now that was a lot of magic consumption.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Okay, he's on the edge there, but so he's got a few. I don't know how many he has, but that alone.
Yeah, that was not unfortunate. That was unfortunate. Looks like he's gonna head to the potion shop.
If I'm honest here, Calvin should have. I don't know. I don't want to be like criticizing him for this. He. Going for that slash there was given the knockback that Ganon gives you when you slash him. Could have ended up doing it from the top instead of the left side, but again, I'm not Calvin. And again, he's doing his best as he can. I'm not putting it against him.
So, Plasma, any other thoughts?
Nice Saga 1. So, like, well, I could go to Eastern, or I could not go to Eastern. I think I'd rather not go to Eastern.
Well, it was interesting because Calvin decided to do it even before going to Sarasha.
Yeah, it did pay off because the mirror was on top of the pyramid ledge. That led Calvin to go back to get the Moon Pearl, which that alone was nice. It was a convenient spot for Calvin to make that play. It wasn't the right call at first, but it wasn't the right call to do it. But it was, of course, we needed to do it Aga 1 anyway, so it was in general good routing.
Yes, except you get it from Sash. You might be a bit too close to pod without your easily accessible bow. So maybe you also dodge pod.
Right. So now Calvin enters the game is now back in the game of fights in round number 3 of this fight.
In phase 3.
Yeah, that's phase 3 of round number 3. Ooh, playing it way too close for comfort there. Alright, it's getting ready there. Actually deletes the fire bats, which is actually pretty interesting. Hold right. Okay, good. There's a double. Alright, this will pretty much get this alone will guarantee the rest of the fight. There it goes.
There we go.
Alright, get your GGs in chat for Calvin. It's gotta cross the 1x3 bridge now, and we'll be done with this race. And Calvin will be finishing second on the restream official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 31 seconds. Good enough for 4th place overall. That means just before Calvin had finished, Ivy Flowers finishing 3rd with a time of 1:55.55. And Sanders 316, 2nd place with a time of 1:53.13, sorry. And also has a PB. I got a PB by just under 30 seconds. So, congratulations to him. I don't blame Calvin for just passing through, just speeding through this.
Yeah, it was a rough time for him.
Honestly, Calvin. Again, I don't want to put this against Calvin. He did the best. He does the best he can, and it just happened that a lot of things happened to go not the way he wanted to, and as a result, it cost him a lot of time.
Yeah, having that sword in Turtle Rock and the sword in Hookshot Cave was definitely against.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but and we're joined by Calvin. GG's to you.
Hey, thanks.
GG's.
So yeah, there was a lot of things that Gannon fights, and then the Vitreous fight that had a lot of problems for you. I didn't want to put it against you because of some of the things you did in there, that on hindsight could have wasn't really the right decisions. But again, I don't want to put it against you at all.
I mean, when you're doing majority of the seed with Fighter Sword, it could be pretty tough. I don't ever really remember doing Fighter Sword in any seed for that long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like at least that part, I know you can't hurt the eyeballs with Fighter Sword slashes. You have to spin or use arrows or bombs. And I didn't have very many arrows. I had no magic. I was just in a very bad position going into that fight. So I had to pull out a miracle. So I figured, I can go get, at that point, I was like, let me go ahead and finish everything else. And then I'll come back. Maybe I get a sword upgrade, silvers, half magic, something to help me with that fight a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Master Sword off
you got it off of
Argus.
Argus, yeah.
So that helped out a little bit, but getting the silvers off of in Ice Palace too was very good. So I feel like, yes, it's unfortunate because now I have to double dip Mire, go back in, and that just adds time.
Right.
Let's not even talk about the 2 Ganon Falls where I was like 1 silver arrow away too.
Yeah.
I was about to go in tilt mode, but I'm like, chill. It's fine. Just go back in. We've done this 100 times, So, just bad ending for me, I guess. But overall, it was fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. GG's to both of you. We're gonna wrap things up right away. So for tonight, we have some more action going up on Speed Gaming. Definitely follow the Speed Gaming channel, Speed Gaming 2 through 6. So on Speed Gaming number 3, right now, we have High Spirits versus Rojo on the Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer Spring Tournament. Coming up later on, we have Spec D versus Dark Moon EX on Speed Gaming number 1. The SMC3 1v1 2020 tournament will be against Cantaloupe Me versus Ova Jam. It's happening on Speed Gaming number 3. Just to say that again. Speed Gaming number 1, we have the Mario Kart 64 Grand Prix No Skips tournament. Or the Grand Prix series. Lewis versus Andy, and it's not if I'm had to take a guess, it's not the Andy that you guys are familiar with. Super Metroid multi-category tournament on Speed Gaming number 5. This will be there'll be 2 matches on that channel as well. definitely check the channel, check the schedule for that kind of information. Speed Gaming number 2 will be Zelda 1 Randomizer Random Percent Tournament. Highlight of that match is going to be a double header from the looks of things, of Lack Attack 24 versus Crimson Avix. Definitely want to take a look at that. On Speed Gaming number 6, we have the SMC3 1v1 2020 tournament. Dr. Kozak versus Alucard 2004. We have some more matches coming up but those have yet to be given channels. Just check the schedule again for that kind of information. The Dr. Kozak versus Alucard 2004 match will be at 8:10 p.m. And then to wrap things up for the rest of your night, we have the Pac-Man World 2 2020 90% tournament with Laurie D. Bunnykins and Xander69 that'll be at 9 p.m. on Speed Gaming number 1, and then Speed Gaming number 4. Again, to wrap out your night, the Metroid Prime 2 Randomizer Tournament, Op 82 versus Bash Prime, that will be at 9 o'clock. And a brief look ahead into Thursday, again, brief. Some of the highlights here, I'll give you the names for these. Some ALTTP League matches, SMC3 1v1, Spring Tournament, Fall FF1R, Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer Spring Tournament, matches, multi-category tournaments, and so on and so on. But yeah, thank you for watching this. Thank you to Calvin and Plasma Calvin for coming on the restream. Thank you to Glacial for coming up on the just at the start of the race, so we didn't have to do double duty. Myself, Professor Render, and SoCal 2044 were your commentators for today. Definitely give us a follow as well. Until next time, may all your seeds not have swords in really dumb spots on Dark Death Mountain. I'm off to play Valorant, etc., etc. Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.